Hello, friends. This is Chandrakant from Akulmac Technologies, and welcome to Legal Matters. Today, we would like to discuss about the right of freedom to protest, and in the wake of what happened on 26th of January 2021. To discuss this further, let me invite my friend, the very popular advocate, Mr. Jeet Bhatt from Ahmedabad.
Thank you, Chandrakant, for having me and for this discussion. I'm looking forward for this discussion.
Yes, Jeet. In fact, the horrific pictures of January 26th of 2021 when the flag of India was meddled with and the national monuments were desecrated. Uh, while the protesters have the right to protest, but what was really going on from the legal standpoint? You can tell our viewers a little bit more details about the freedom to protest and what is the acceptable freedom to protest.
Yes, absolutely, Chandrakant. With respect to what happened on 26th of January, we saw several violent instances where the police as well as the protesters clashed and there were injuries on both sides. So this raises some important questions on what are the rights or the constitutional fundamental rights of a citizen with respect to protest and also the fundamental rights of citizen for a proper and public order, because it is very important that protest should not turn violent, and therefore there are reasonable restrictions imposed upon this right to protest and raise objections with regards to the stand or action of the government. So first of all, right to protest is a very important right under the democratic setup, and it is guaranteed under the Constitution under Article 19, 1A, B, and C. So there is no such word used as protest, but what the Constitution provides is the freedom of speech and expression, also the freedom to assemble peacefully without arms, and also to form unions. So these three fundamental rights of citizens construed together give a very important right to the citizens to protest, raise objections, resist, or even show its dissent of any action of the government. So therefore, in a democracy, as you are aware, there are several voices. And India being such a pluralistic country, every part will have its own concerns, issues, and every citizen is given this right to protest and voice its opinion. So basically, it's a very important democratic and civil right provided under the Constitution, under Article 19, 1A, B, and C. But also, Article 19 is subject to certain restrictions which are provided under the Constitution and Article 19.2 to 19.6. So it provides and gives the power to the state to enact a law which reasonably restricts these fundamental rights of the citizens. So, with respect to what restriction it provides, is that uh, in order to secure public order, in order to secure the security of the state can impose certain restrictions which have to be reasonable upon these fundamental rights of the citizens. So, therefore, we see that the Code of Criminal Procedure, the Indian Penal Code, the Police Act provides for powers and mechanisms and procedures where such rights of persons who are protesting or expressing or assembling or even forming union can be restricted, and the proper mechanism is provided. With respect to what happened on 26th January, we see violent protests happening. Also, the public property was damaged. So this raises an issue as to what extent these fundamental rights are given to citizens. But with respect to that, there are several decisions of the Supreme Court on this issue which I want to highlight. The first, which I want to point out, is the judgment of Ramlila Maidan incident versus Home Secretary Union of India, wherein the Supreme Court recognizes this right to peacefully and lawfully assemble together and to freely express oneself, coupled with the right to know about such expression, which is guaranteed under Article 19 of the Constitution. Such a right is inherent and is also coupled with the right to freedom and liberty, which have been conferred under Article 21. In the Ramlila Maidan incident, what had happened is in the night when the protesters were protesting and sleeping, the police officers had tried to disperse them and done a lathi charge and injured several protesters. With respect to that incident, the Supreme Court said that no, this is not fair and this is not proper mechanism of restricting somebody's fundamental right. The Supreme Court also recognized that right to sleep, peacefully sleep, is also a fundamental right under Article 21. And therefore, you cannot disturb someone in such odd hours and do a lathi charge and use force and disperse the crowd, because they are exercising their fundamental right to sleep, and also they are exercising their right to protest. So police, that was an excessive force of police, and which the Supreme Court said was not proper and constitutional. And even the use of force should be within the bounds of the Constitution. So there are restrictions upon the state in order to use force. But with respect to the right of the protesters, it is also clear that the fundamental rights are not just of the protesters, but also of the residents of the city. The people living in the city also have the right to have a proper public order, public decorum, morality, decency. And the rights of others cannot be trampled only because the protesters want to protest on the streets. So therefore, the Supreme Court in the matter uh, in the judgment has held that the protesters should be allocated a proper place to protest, and the protest should happen peacefully. And in that place, allocated place, should be such that that should not disturb the proper flow of traffic, proper flow of movement of other citizens. So therefore, considering these restrictions, the right to protest can be continued. But on 26th January, we saw that the protest had were disrupted. There was use of excessive force by the protesters. They had assembled by having arms. They did transgress the fundamental rights that they had, and they demolished the properties. They desecrated the public property. So therefore, we saw that it went out of hand. And in exercising their fundamental rights, they overstepped it and violated the fundamental rights of others. Because Constitution clearly demarcates and provides that my right ends when your right begins, and your right ends when my right begins. So this demarcation is constitution and has to be respected by every citizen. In fact, it is a fundamental duty of every citizen to maintain peace and order. So therefore, the protesters also not just transgressed their fundamental rights, but also violated the fundamental duties which are enshrined under the Constitution. And though everybody does talk about the fundamental rights, but very few talk about what are the fundamental duties that citizens have in this country. And if we maintain the fundamental duties, we comply with them, and we follow them properly, then I don't think this incident could have happened. So now the next step which comes is that how to fix accountability and whom to put the blame and what the authorities must do in order to ensure that the damage that has been done uh, can be properly compensated. So with respect to that, not just there are the prosecution can be initiated against the provision provides that there can be vicarious liability fixed on all members of the unlawful assembly. But also there should be provision which provides for compensation and damages from the leaders who have permitted such violent protests to happen. That is what the government should aim and do with regards to fixing accountability and also seeking those who have been held liable.
So, Jeet, thank you very much for explaining this in a legal perspective, and also very clearly you have defined what is the right and what is the duty for all citizens to follow, and every citizen is equal in India. So, while this is well known, and especially all of us study this very early in our schools, I think this is taught to us on in the civics chapters in fourth or fifth standard. So when we are like 6 years old, from that time, all Indians are aware of rights and duties. Uh, but at the same time, I'm very surprised to see the leadership of these protests are asking people to violate the legal norms, the constitutional duties right from the beginning. What do you have to talk about those things? You know, these people who are educated, very well off, they have the crores of property to their name, and yet they are asking these poor farmers to violate the laws which are laid down as a constitution in the constitution for all citizens to follow. Like to know your opinion.
Yes, Chandrakant. So we see that the leaders uh, don't lead their members in order to ensure that a peaceful protest continues, and they want to use force. But that is not how a protest should happen in a civilized and a advanced democratic country like India. We saw protest in Hong Kong for almost a period of more than a year, uh, but it did not result into damage to public property to such an extent. The peaceful protest, in fact, even the Supreme Court, while granting stay of these farm laws, also appreciated and recognized that the protests that were happening till date were going on very peacefully. So even in fact, what has happened is on 26th, they themselves have turned this peaceful protest into a violent protest. And violence is not an answer in any manner that can lead to a solution. So they should have shown some restraint. The leaders should have shown restraint and assured that the protest should run peacefully. In fact, what I am aware of is that the police authorities, while granting permission to protest, and also there was a condition that it should not result into public disorder. But they have violated the terms and conditions of the permission granted and transgressed them. So therefore, yes, so the leaders are to be blamed, and the accountability has to be fixed, and proper compensation should also be, orders should be passed to recover the amount of damage that has been done from these leaders.
Yes, and again, surprising thing, Jeet, is that they still continue to violate the law. They have not vacated the street, even though the government of India had provided them a separate area where they can continue their protest. They have refused that. They have refused the advices given by the Supreme Court of India. They have also refused the government initiative. 11 talks have happened. And now, after committing such a big crime, which is our national day, it's a pillar of our democracy, which we celebrate on Republic Day. They spoiled the name of India. They brought the Indian fame down, and they still continues to violate the law. What do you have to say about that?
Well, Republic Day has its own significance because on 25th, 26th of January, the Constitution of India came into existence. So that day, we became a republic democratic country, and that no citizen should ever forget. In fact, the Constitution, which provides them this right to protest, also provides certain safeguards and restrictions upon this right to protest, which the protesters should not forget. Also, with regards to fundamental duties, which is a chapter incorporated under the Constitution, which provides that it is the duty of every citizen of India to safeguard public property and to abjure violence. So, this is a fundamental duty prescribed under this Constitution. And despite this Constitution coming into force on 26th January, such protest violating not just the fundamental rights of others, but also not respecting the fundamental duties of every citizen, was something which was not called for and should have been avoided.
So, going forward from here, what is the way out for the protesting leaders? Because they have violated all norms of a democratic setup. What they should be doing? I'm not saying that they should stop their protest. They should continue. But what is the remedy for them to correct what they have been doing for the last 2 months?
Well, the petitions are already pending before the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has constituted a committee. So, therefore, they have to wait for the committee to give its report and thereafter the Supreme Court to hear the matters. They may protest peacefully. There is no restriction on that. But then now, with the matter being pending before the Supreme Court, they must respect the Supreme Court and wait for the decision to come from the top court of this country.
Fine, Jeet. I think you have very well explained the whole scenario for the benefit of our viewers, and I'm sure most of us are already aware that some blunders have been committed, and I think people who are doing all this needs to correct. I think the message should be loud and clear that they should stop violating the law and set an example for all of us. So thank you very much, Jeet, for coming to the show today, and we will catch up again next week with something even more interesting.
Thank you very much, Janat.
Bye-bye.